So, Jai Gurudev, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody here. I was looking this morning and what I could read to you guys as a Valentine's Day present. And I came across this quote from Guruji. And what he's speaking about is he's speaking about who the Satguru is. And the Satguru is our eternal Valentine. You know, our husbands, our wives, our lovers, all the different relationships that we have in our lives, they will come and go. And we've had so many before. As Guruji says, which husband, which wife are you talking about? Because how many different lives have we had where we keep on switching roles? But he is the one who is always, always there. He is our eternal beloved Lord that knows us more than anybody will ever know us, and knows us more than we will ever be able to know ourselves. So Guruji says this: who is the Satguru and which role has he in our life? The Satguru is the closest relationship, since we can have, as he is with us since the moment our soul was created. All other bonds we know, parents, friends, siblings, children, partner, how strong we might experience them, are only from this life, and we're brought together to solve pending karma. Once the karma is finished, we also move on. But the Satguru has committed himself to never let go of our hand until we reach our final destination. There is nothing we can do that can change his love for us. His love is not momentaneous emotions that oscillate with the wind or is dependent on what we say or do. His love is solid. He is aware of our limitations and shortcomings better than ourselves, but no judgment is there, only acceptance and love. No darkness can scare him, and no fault is too big for his love. And his love transforms the dull, rough stone into shiny diamonds. May we trust him and the process, for he prescribes for each one of us. For us is just that. For us is just necessary to put in the effort and rest assured in the safe lap of the divine, knowing he has arranged everything we need for reaching our goal in the smoothest way available for us. That's really everything that we need to really know about our relationship with Guruji. He is here as the Satguru, and as you guys are becoming devotees, he's arranged every single one of your paths to reach to this point where you can take initiation. He has literally, if you look at your own life, seen how he has held your hand from before, guiding you here, just waiting for you to be ready to come on his boat. So we will be focusing today on the key mantras. And okay, so the mantras that we have covered, the Rahasya Traya mantras we've spoken about already a few times. We've already covered this in the Vaishnavism section. Then we have the Vaishnava mantra, which we'll be going through, the food prayer, Guru Pranam, Krishna Pranam, Radha Pranam, Saraswati Vandana, and Vaishnava Pranam. These mantras, we need to learn them off by heart. These are important. These are the key mantras that Guruji has selected, and some of them are also very popular in other Vaishnava traditions. So it's not only specific to Bhakti Marga, but these are what are chosen to him, by him, And there are a few that are specific. So the Vaishnava mantra, does anybody know this mantra? All right. So let's repeat it together. And then I will take you step by step through it. Let's just see if it says. All right. So how it goes is this. Ato deva avantano yato vishnu vichakrame pradivya saptadamapi. And what this means, let's do this. I'll say it for you once, and then we'll break it down in terms of what the meaning is. And Swami is here, no?
No, he left.
Okay. I was going to get him to pronounce it because for sure his pronunciation is 1,000 times better than mine. Ato deva avantuno yato vishnu vichakrame pradivya saptadamapihi idam vishnu vichakrame treta nirate param samudamasya bhagum sare trini pada vichakrame vishnu gopa ata abhyaha tato dharmani dharena Vishnu karmani pashyatayato vritani paspase indrasya yujasaga tat Vishnu o paramam paragum sara pashanti surya devi vachaksharatam tat vipraso vipanyavo jagu vagum sasamindate Vishnuryat paramam param. So let's break it down. Ato deva avantano yato vishnu vichakrame pradivya sapta dama bihi. May the omnipresent Lord, along with nature's bounties, preserve us on the part of the earth whence the Lord measured the 7 regions. Here, this refers to the part of the earth on which the divine revelations came to men through 7 meters of the Vedic verses. So the first part is speaking about creation itself. Idam Vishnu vichakrame tretani da padam samodamasya bhagum sure. The omnipresent and all-powerful Lord dominates over the 3 regions, earth, mid-region, and celestial. His one step is deeply rooted in the deep, dark mystery beyond the knowledge of mankind. So what this mantra is actually speaking about, it's speaking also about the Vamana avatar. How he took the 1 step, and then he took the 2nd step, and then he took the 3rd step on Bali's head. Does everybody know the story? Is everybody totally familiar with it? I can't see it. Are there yeses? Are there nos?
Everybody's camera's off.
Huh?
Everybody's camera's off.
Okay. So we have the story of the Vaman avatar, who was the 5th incarnation of the Lord. And basically the story is how Indra and Bali was a great demon. And they had a huge battle, a huge fight. And what happened between them was that Indra basically won. And Bali felt so defeated, felt so bad that he went to his guru, who is called Shukracharya. And he said, I can't handle this. How is it that he won? I need to become more powerful. I need to become the most powerful on all the planets so that I can take over all the universes, right? This is what the demons always want to do. They always want to have full control, full power over everything. And this, of course, is a reflection of our own minds and our own egos, how we want to have full power, full control, that we are the most amazing in all the universes. And so he starts these yagnas, and his guru was an incredible guru, Shukracharya. And so Bali starts to do these yagnas. And of course, he started to become more powerful and more powerful and more powerful, until literally all of the gods had to be banished to different forests. They were literally hiding. They were so scared of Bali. And not only was Bali powerful, but inside of him, there was a degree of righteousness inside of him. These demons are also devotees of the Lord. And in this way, I always think about how we can't be judgmental about our lives or people or other people, because we don't really understand God. We're so limited. But all of these demons, all of these negative qualities, all of these things are also belonging to the Lord, are also the Lord's children, are also part of God. And he loves them too. So Bali was very powerful. Bali was very righteous, because he really cared about the people inside of his kingdoms. And so Aditi, it was Aditi, the mother of gods, I think so, Aditi. So she went to Narayana and she said, look, my sons are so scared of this Bali who is becoming so powerful. Lord Srimad Narayana, you have to help us. I don't know what to do. He's just taking over everything. And Lord Indra is not even able to go do his seva every single day, because the whole universe is completely turned upside down. And so the Lord says, don't worry, fear not. I will come in the form of your child and I will correct righteousness. And just like what the Lord is promising, what he speaks about in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, is when there is unrighteousness, when there is discord in the world, I, by my own self, out of my own will, I willingly come and manifest myself here so that I can uphold righteousness and justice. And so the Lord comes and manifests himself into a really beautiful little Brahmin boy. And this Brahmin child was glowing. He was so beautiful. And he was also in the form of a dwarf. The Lord is really amazing how he chooses so many forms to come in. Fishes, dwarfs, like half lions, half man. He's very creative. So he comes in this form of the Vamana, of this beautiful dwarf. And the Vamana, one day, the Vamana avatar hears about how Bali is doing this Ashvamedha Yagna. And he says, okay, I must go and see what's happening here. And so he goes, he's got his little kamindalu, and he's got his little stick, he's got his umbrella, and he's beautiful. And he is glowing with this effulgence. And he's so delicate and small and petite, but really like magnificent. And so when he comes to this yagna, of course, people are looking at him and thinking, wow, who is this beautiful, beautiful Brahmin boy? He's so beautiful. I can't stop looking at him. And what happens is that this child comes and Shukracharya notices him. And of course, Bali notices him as well. And Bali bows down, he pays respect to him because he notices that there's something different about this boy. And Shukracharya is looking at this boy and he's thinking, wait a minute here, something is not right. And the way that Bali already is, there's a part of him, Guruji says in his novel, not his novel, in his commentaries of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is such an incredible book. And the way that Guruji speaks about it is very different to how you read the stories on the internet or even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, other books. because the knowledge that Guruji has and the way that he explains it is so incredibly deep and from a very different perspective. So I really suggest that all of you have a look at this. So what Guruji says here is that he did recognize him, Bali. He knew that he was the Lord. He already knew. And he already understood what it was that had to happen here. And Shukracharya tried to do everything to stop Bali from entering into an agreement with Vamana. So Vamana made a very strange request. He said, I only want one thing. I want 3 steps of this land. And this was a very strange request. Bali was thinking, I've got so many riches, I've got so many diamonds, I can offer you everything. Why do you only want 3 steps? It's such a small, silly thing to ask. And with this, with his Kamandalu pot, he was going to pour this pot onto Vamana's hands in order to seal the deal. But what Guruji says here is that Shukracharya actually already knew fully, even though for a moment he was deluded, but with his yogic powers, he understood what was going on here. And he literally stopped the water from coming out of the pot. And then, of course, Vamana avatar was way too smart for this. And he put his little finger in and he went like this and boop, the water moved out of the pot. And as this happened, the blessing was already granted. And so he started to grow huge. He grew so huge that he was bigger than the whole world. And so he took one step which covered the world. Then he grew even more and he took another step which covered all of the heavenly realms. And then he grew even more. And he was thinking, where am I going to place my next step? There is nowhere else. And in this moment, Bali went like this. And he knew that the Lord, he offered his own self. He offered his own head. He offered himself to the Lord. And he said to him, please take your next step on my head. And the Lord did that. He took the next step on Bali's head. And with this, of course, he gave him complete liberation. And also he took him to his next Dharma. And let's just see, there was something very beautiful. So Guruji says here that he made him the king of Sutaloka. And that what he promised him is that he will always be there with him in the form of the Vamana avatar. He will literally be guarding the gate. So if he's doing his Dharma and he's staying there in Sutaloka, the Vamana avatar will always be there with him. So he always has the form of the Lord. And with that huge blessing, that is how it ends. And what Guruji says here is that the 3rd step is really the ego. And when the ego is surrendered to the feet of the Lord, when Bhagavan fully puts his foot on you, then one gets purified, transformed, and the Lord rules over the ego. And from that moment, you become fully divine. So this was the story of the Vamana avatar. And here in the 3rd line, when he's in the Vaishnava mantra, it says, Trini pada vichakrame Vishnu gopa atabhyaha tato dharmani dharayana. The omnipresent Lord, the preserver of the indomitable, created all 3 regions, earth, the mid-region, and the celestial. He sustains and preserves the sanctity of all vital functions that keep life pulsating. So he is the one who governs and rules everything. Like I mentioned before, not even a leaf moves without his will. Vishnu karmani pashyatayato o vritani paspase indrasya yujasagaa. Behold, the marvelous creation of the omnipresent Lord, who fulfills our noble aspirations. He is a true friend of the soul. He is a true friend of the soul. Is Hari Haridas here?
Yeah.
So Hari Haridas had a question in the Bhagavad Gita group. I'll just speak a bit about that now. He said, like, why do things happen? Why do basically bad things happen? In the eyes of the Lord, there is no bad and there is no good. These things don't exist. The only thing that keeps this bad and good and right and wrong and all of these ideas is our own mind. In the eyes of the Lord, everything is for love and everything is made out of love and everything moves towards love. So it may not look the way that we want it to look. We may not get everything that we want, but it is for the sake of love. And this love moves us closer to God. So here it says he is a true friend of the soul.
Sandeep says go a little slower.
Okay. So the Lord and the Satguru is a true friend of the soul. What does that mean? I can just say in terms of Guruji, he doesn't care. I don't want it to sound wrong. He doesn't care necessarily about the mundane things that happen to us. He cares about our soul. He cares about taking us from point A to point Z. That's what he cares about. That is why he's here. And so if something needs to happen, in whichever way it needs to happen to move us there quicker, this is what is best for us. And so everything else are the dramas of life. You know, the dramas of life will be there. And it doesn't mean that, yes, life is painful. Yes, we will have suffering. Yes, it will look like bad things happen. But ultimately, it is not like that. This is not the reality. The reality is everything happens for a reason. And the reason is to bring us closer to him. Always, in every situation. Because he is our true friend of the soul. And that is what is most important. He is the true friend of the soul, not the true friend of our ego. Guruji will not pamper us. He might pamper us in the beginning when we're not able or when we don't want to know when we don't want to listen to him. That's what happens. Then he will make it nice and cushy for us, just to get us to the place where we're able to say, okay, I really want to know what love is. I really want to know what's best for me. I really want to know what's the highest for myself. And when we are in that place and we have sincerity, then he will be able to relate to us in a different way. Because he's a reflection of us. So if we're not able to take that step, he will lovingly, cushioningly move us a little bit out of our comfort zone. But when we are ready to say, okay, I really want what you want. I really want to know what's best for me. I really sincerely even if it's going to hurt me, want to know what love is, then he will really start to show you. Tad Vishnuo paramam paragum sara pashanti suryaha diviva chaksharatam. The wise and true seekers realize the Lord through meditation within their own self. They see him vividly as the eye ranges over the sky. Wow, that's so beautiful. Is Sandeep okay?
Yeah.
The wise and the true seekers realize the Lord through meditation within their own self. This is what Guruji wants for us. This is the preparation. What we do on a daily basis is the preparation for really going within. All of the tests that we have on the outside, the tests of love, is a preparation to really learn what love is so that we can delve inside of our own hearts and meet him there. And that is our true relationship with the Lord and the Satguru. Poor Sandeep. Tat vipraso vipanyavo jagu vagum sasamin date Vishnuryat paramam padam. By transcendental meditation and pious acts, the vigilant seeker of truth realizes the all-pervading God within the innermost cavity of the supreme abode of the Lord. Wow, that's so beautiful. So by meditation and pious acts, this is how we realize him inside of our own heart. And pious acts, Guruji says one thing, and I was thinking about it this morning. Guruji says the only day that is lost, the only time that is lost is when you miss an opportunity to love. This is the most important thing. If you miss an opportunity to love, literally after we die and we go to a different learning place, where we arrive is a learning school, and what God shows us is all the opportunities that we missed to love people, missed to love our environment, missed to love, I don't know, the dogs, the cats, everything that is around us. Opportunities that are missed. And this is the most important thing when the Lord speaks about pious acts, doing good. The most important thing that we can do is we can love. This is really the only thing that is worth any value. And this is what Guruji wants from us. So this mantra is part of the Rig Veda and praises the Lord in his incarnation as Vamana avatar. The story narrates that the Vamana incarnated to re-establish the Dharma, which declined under the reign of demon king Bali. We've already spoken about this. And how he covered his 3 steps. Why do we chant it? This mantra is chanted as a declaration or creed of a Vaishnava's beliefs. We also chant this at the end of our pujas on a daily basis as a forgiveness. We basically are asking for forgiveness for everything that we have done wrong during the puja. Then we chant this mantra to say, Lord, please forgive me for all the mistakes that I've made. You know that there's probably been many. Forgive me for everything. It states that Lord Vishnu is the Lord of all of the worlds. The dust from his lotus feet covers the entire earth, blessings all the earth and its inhabitants. Vaishnavas are also noted in these verses as not only being able to see the Lord, but also give sight of the Lord to others. Who is the only one who can give sight of the Lord to others? Guruji. And he has many times. We don't have time to go into it, but many, many times Guruji has shown, because he is the controller of everything, through his infinite mercy and grace, he has given many of his devotees the darshan of Krishna, the darshan of Hanuman, the darshan of Divine Mother, many different darshans, because he is the supreme controller. Therefore, this Vaishnava mantra is sung in praise of Lord Vishnu, the Vaishnava devotees, and the Lord's blessings, which are bestowed upon us all. What is the definition of a Vaishnava? Anybody want to try answer? Is there anyone? The definition of a Vaishnava is one who is incredibly humble, one who is incredibly kind, and one who has got single-pointed devotion to the Lord. This is the definition of a true Vaishnava. And the two qualities of that, incredibly humble and unbelievably kind, their kindness is how you will know a true Vaishnava. All right, any questions on the Vaishnava mantra before we move on to the food prayer? Anything?
No.
Okay. So the food prayer, you guys also got to learn this off by heart. I used to have a magnet on the top of my fridge. That's how I learned it. I don't think we have magnets here, but you can try, put it actually on your phone. And then every single time you eat, maybe you get an audio, put it on your phone, and every time you eat, you can hear it and try read it. And eventually you'll learn it. So the food prayer, Ma prasada govinde nama brahmani vaishnave svalpa punya vatam rajam vishvashone vajayate brahmapanam brahmavir brahmagno brahmanahutam brahme vatena gantavyam brahmakama samadhina aham veshvanaro budva praninande amashita pranapana samayuktam panchamyanam chaturvijam Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. So Guruji chose this in different sections actually. It's broken up. So the first section, Ma Prasada Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Svalpa Punya Vatamra Jam Vishvashoneva Jayate. O King, for those who have amassed very few pious activities, their faith in Mahaprasad, in Sri Govinda, in the holy name, and in the Vaishnava is never born. The whole creation being the gross projection of Brahma, the food too is Brahman, and the process of offering it is Brahman. It is being offered in the fire of Brahman. This part over here comes from chapter 4, verse 24. And in chapter 4, what what Krishna is speaking about is the yagna. And so everything is a yagna, everything is an offering of God. And what he's saying is, Brahmapana Brahmadir, is that I am the Brahman, I am the food, I am also the, I am the process and the digestion which breaks down the food. I am the internal yagna. In Ayurveda, and we have it over here, we have the 5 different types of vayus. So we've got apana, we've got here it is, the prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. All of these different ones are working, and they actually have different directions in terms of the process of the body, in terms of how the body digests, where the food will move. The one works for the circulation system, samana works for the circulation system inside of just the digestive tract. Vyana works for the whole full circulation of the body. Apana works for the energy coming up. Udana works for the energy going down. And prana works for the energy coming inside. And so all of this together is governed by the Lord. Even our digestion is governed by the Lord. Isn't that amazing? And so what he's saying is that just by his will, just by his force behind everything, digestion, assimilation, the whole process is happening. So he who sees that I am this Brahman in action, when he who realizes that I am the one who is doing everything, he is the one who truly sees me. That is what he's saying. How he's in the whole process. Is this clear? Alrighty, so let's move forward. Guru Pranama. I start every single time with this, and you'll hear always in Guruji's satsangs as well. Any satsang that really happen in Bhakti Marga, it's the same beginnings. Agnirati mirandasya jnana jana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasme shri gurave namaha. My salutations to the reverential teacher who opened my eyes by applying the divine colorum of self-knowledge in my eyes, which has been blinded by the cataracts of ignorance. So what is being said here is we are completely blind. We are. And only by the divine mercy of the Satguru will he actually be able to remove this ignorance from our eyes so that we will be able to see. It's the same when we hear satsangs. I don't think I'm the only one. Sometimes you hear something, what Guruji is saying, or one of the Swamis, or anybody really, and you don't even understand what he's saying. And then there are times when there's enough help and enough grace, or maybe there's just a point where you are really sincere with what you want to change in your life, and then you understand what it is that he's saying. So this is how the Lord, this is how the Satguru removes this ignorance from us and fills us with knowledge. Knowledge, in the true sense, is wisdom of Krishna. That is what Krishna speaks about in the Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge is experiential. True knowledge is experiential. It's something that you can't really read in books. And this is what the Satguru gives you through direct experience. Krishna Pranama. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute. O Krishna, you are the ocean of compassion, friend of the distressed, and Lord of the universe. You are the friend of the Gopas and Gopis, and Radharani's dearest. I salute you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to the Lord Krishna. Ya kundendu tusharahara davala, ya shubravastra vita, ya vina varadanda manditakara, ya shveda padmasana, ya brahmachuta shankara pribhiti, devi sanda vandita, sama patu saraswati bhagavati, puri pradam sharade. Buddhi Pradam Sharade. So this verse is dedicated to Saraswati. May the goddess Saraswati protect me. She is fair like the jasmine-colored moon, and her pure white garland is like frosty dewdrops. She is adorned in radiant white attire. On her beautiful arms rests the Veena. Her throne is a white lotus. She is surrounded and respected Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Please remove my weariness, sluggishness, and ignorance. Then it moves to the next verse. Vancha kalpa tarupyascha kripa sundu evacha patitam panevebhyo vaishnavabhyo. No, I've got the wrong tune here. This is the Vaishnava Pranama. Vanchakalpa tarupyascha kripa sindhuta evacha patitam panna evebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. This is a very beautiful verse. And what it speaks about is how I offer my respects to the Vaishnava in terms of the Sangha, that this person in front of me is a Vaishnava devotee. So that is what every single one of you are. You're devotees of Narayana. And without this respect for each and every single one of us, it is not possible for Bhakti Marga to be built. It's just not possible. And this is really important. We had a practice in the beginning of the year. It was the beginning of this year, no? Last year. 2020. Where it was a really beautiful exercise here in the ashram. So we went through a really hard time last year, as you do in ashrams. Guruji comes, changes many things, and needs to do whatever needs to happen in order to move all of us forward. And so there was a space where we were all really judging each other. And for sure, we lost sight of love. We really did. And Swami Prantapa was here. And what he did with us is every single day we would have to come down just after prayers. And we would have to sit with each other and look at each other in the eyes and just send love to the other devotee. So I would send love to the one devotee and the other devotee would send love to me. And really just by doing this, it healed many different things inside of ourselves. Because when you're sending love to somebody, ultimately, you're also sending love to yourself. That's what you're doing. You're accepting another person, you're accepting yourself. It's the same thing. If you have problems with somebody, you have problems with yourself or these ideas of yourself. And then we would have to say this Vaishnava pranama to every single one of us and then bow down to each other. And this process really, I found it super helpful. I found that it really helped all of us build respect and start to see each other in the way that Guruji sees us. Because we are all devotees of him. And it doesn't actually make a difference what anybody does. If somebody is a devotee of him, if somebody is a devotee of the Lord, this says a lot about the person. Not everybody has love for God. Not everybody really wants to know who they are. Very few people actually really want that. And so for the bhaktas, which is really what we are, devotees are bhaktas of the Lord. For a bhakta, it is the most important thing to respect and love another bhakta. Because by doing that, we are honoring God and Guruji in the heart of the other person. This is a very, very important mantra. And if you're having problems, I recommend you do this. You say this. There was another thing. Okay, I'll tell you. It was so funny, but it really works. There are people who are having marriage problems in South Africa. Maybe you guys don't know Swami Prantapa, but he's been a Bhakti Marga Swami for many years. And his trick to fix people's marriages was that the husband would have to bow down to the wife every day, and the wife would have to bow down to the husband every day. Traditionally, this was very normal that you have this. But of course, as relationships change and as the West and all of these different cultures move in, you stop having these traditions. And so much in relationships, there's so many fights over who is going to be right. And that is really the thing that destroys relationships. And so this humbling act of bowing down to somebody and really just saying, I bow down to you, I respect you, I love you, and I'll also serve you. Just by doing that, many relationships have been fixed in Bhakti Marga. So these are the key mantras. Is everybody still okay? What's the time?
It's been 51 minutes.
Huh?
51 minutes. It's been.
Okay. So I'm going to go through the Bhakti Marga explanations. It's quick, it's brief. Before I go there, do we have any questions about the mantras?
No, not yet.
You will have more explanations of these mantras in your devotee manual. There it is. In which, in its own time, you will have to learn it off by heart. For sure, you'll have to learn the mantras off by heart. This is a guarantee. And it's important that you at least understand the basic meanings of what you're saying so that it can give meaning to what you're praying about. Okay, the next section, Bhakti Marga explanations. Why is it important to know about Bhakti Marga? Why is it important to know about Guruji? You guys, as devotees, are literally representing Guruji all around India. When you go outside, even though it is your face and what you say, people will hear, but they will think whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, this reflection and this judgment will come and sit on Guruji. People won't say this person is so-and-so is an idiot. People will say that Paramahansa Vishwananda and his devotees don't know what they're talking about. And this is why it is important to be knowledgeable. It is important to be able to speak about Guruji. It's important to be able to speak about Bhakti Marga. So, if you cannot give a breakdown of what Bhakti Marga is in 30 seconds, or who Paramahansa Vishwananda is in 30 seconds, then you don't know what you're talking about. It's as simple as that. If somebody says to you, who is Paramahansa Vishwananda? And you're like, oh, Paramahansa Vishwananda, he's born in Mauritius, and he's done so many different things, so many good things, and he really believes in love, and he spreads love. He really believes in just love. Is that going to explain to somebody who Guruji is? No. And just like that, the door is closed. They're not going to say, oh, wow, that sounds amazing. How can I meet him? How can I see him? As devotees, our job is to help spread his love. And nobody is exempt from that. Not one person. And so it's our foremost duty to be able to speak about him. We should be able to explain what Bhakti Marga is all about to somebody in a very short amount of time. If one requires more than a minute to explain anything, it means that it is not truly understood. This is very true. So, 5 questions. Who do we have here? Is anybody on there? Any faces, or they're all hiding? Hiding. Why do you guys hide like this? They're probably doing so many different things while they're listening. Okay, so 5 questions that you must be able to answer. Who are we? Who is God? What is our relationship to him? Why are we here on earth? And what is our goal? These basic 5 things we must be able to know. Who are we? You want to give it a try. Who are we? Short.
Maybe the part of God.
Very good. We are the eternal soul. We're not the body. Very nice. It says we are part of God. We are part of God. And we're the part of God that is eternal. That is, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says the embodied soul casts away old bodies and takes up new bodies as man changes worn out clothes. Chapter 2, verse 22. And in verse 23, then Krishna says about the soul, you cannot wet it, you cannot burn it, you cannot dry it, you cannot crush it, you cannot do anything to it because it is eternal. It is the part of us that is changeless. So who are we? We are the eternal soul, not this body. And why does all of the confusion happen? Because we think that we're this body. That is why all of this confusion eternally happens. Who is God? He has a name, he has a form. What's his name? Sriman Narayana, right? Narayana is God for us, Sriman Narayana, and he is the indweller of everything. He is inside of you, he is inside of me, we are a part of him. He is so big that all of the universes fit inside of him, and he is so infinitesimally small that he's literally sitting inside of every single cell in our own hearts. So Arjuna says, you are the supreme Brahman, the supreme abode, the supreme purity. O permanent one, the divine Purusha, Narayana himself, the unborn, the all-pervading Lord. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 12. This is when Arjuna realizes who the Lord is. This is the preparation for the Vishnu Sarup. before the Lord is really going to reveal himself in all of his forms. So Arjuna says, you are the supreme Brahman. You are the indweller of everything. You are the source of all. What is our relationship with him? Just guess. What is our relationship with him?
Guru and Bhakt.
Part of it, yes. Guru and Bhakt, exactly. And take one more step further. The relationship between the Guru and Bhakt is that of a love relationship. So we are here because of our love relationship. That is what it is. Think about Valentine's Day. It's that. It's the eternal love relationship. This is our relationship to him. He has known us for all time, and he is waiting for us, literally waiting for us to reveal, not to reveal, he is waiting for us to choose him. I'll tell you about a dream of mine because it always seems to help. Let me just finish this. Of all the yogis, he who is with all his inner self given up to me, for me has love and faith. Him I hold to be the most united with me in yoga. Chapter 6, verse 47. So what he is saying is his inner self is given up to me. He is the one who is united to me. It is not an outside thing. It's very easy to get stuck on Guruji as the form, and that people are closer to him because they speak to him more. They have his telephone number. He's more accessible to some. But the truth is, the relationship that is true, the relationship that is the most dear, the relationship that is eternal, is the one of the heart. And that is the one that we have to invest in as devotees. That is the one that needs to build. And what needs to happen for that to build? Sadhana, japa, time, and love. Loving him. That will build it. Why are we here on earth? If somebody says to you, why are we here? What would your answer be? Why are we here?
Teacher, karma. Karma.
Karma. Yeah, we're for sure here to work out unfinished karma. But as Vaishnavas, why are we here? As Vaishnavas, we are here to remember our eternal relationship with him. That is why we're here. Because we've forgotten our relationship with him. So we are on earth because we have forgotten our relationship with God. Earth becomes a platform for us to approach him. Everything in our lives becomes a platform for us to serve him and for us to love him. As Vaishnavas, these are the two major things that we need to focus on. It makes life very beautiful and very simple. We don't need to worry about our karma. That's not our business. Our karma is really his business. We don't need to worry about karma, samskaras, our sins. I mean, we have to be very careful not to incur, and we have to be careful not to make offenses towards God and Guru. But in how it's going to work out, what's going to happen, even to the point of God realization or self-realization, this is not for us to worry about. Even surrender, what can we do about that? But we are here to approach him. We're here to love him. We're here to serve him. And we are here to realize this eternal relationship with him. And the example of that in Bhagavad Gita is, it is an eternal portion of me that becomes the jiva in the world of living creatures and cultivates the subjective powers of Prakriti, mind and five senses. Chapter 15, verse 7. A part of me comes and manifests in the form of the jiva, in the form of the soul. And that is why we are here. And what is our goal? Our goal is to reestablish the perfect loving relationship with God. That is why we're here. We're here to have this perfect relationship of Bhakt, of Bhakt and Bhakta, of Lord and of the one who's loving the Lord, of whatever our relationship is with God, because our relationships are all very specific and different with Him. But whatever our relationship is, we are here to perfect that. And in essence, what does that mean? That means that we stop thinking about ourselves and we think about Him. It's not important what makes me happy. It's important about what makes Him happy. It's not important about my desires and my wants and my needs. It's important about what He desires, what He wants, and what He needs. And when this happens, the focus shifts from me to Him. And so the Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verse 65. What does the Lord want from us? Focus your mind on me. Be devoted to me. Worship me. Prostrate before me, and you shall come to me alone. I promise you this, verily, for you are dear to me. So what is it that God wants from us the most? To think of Him. That's what Guruji has said to me so many times. Just think of me. Think of me during the day. Think of me when you're doing your seva. Think of me. Just think of me. That's what He wants, us to think of Him. And everything else is actually a preparation so we can think of Him. Why do we japa? So we can think of Him. Why did we do Atmakriya Yoga? So we can think of Him. Why do we do seva? So we can think of Him. All of these things are happening so we can focus and think of Him instead of ourselves. Key points. The simple approach gives the best representation of what we are ultimately believe and what we're trying to do in Bhakti Marga. Guruji is to be presented as the one who makes these realizations possible. He is able to make these realizations possible. Only through His incredible grace are we able to realize anything. Only through His grace are we able to take one step on the spiritual path. Only through His grace are we able to understand what it is that we're doing here and really feel it on an everyday basis. If we are unable to explain and simplify a complex idea, then we have not understood the idea at all. Keep answers concise and direct. Clarity is the most important thing. Are they all still hiding?
Pretty much. Yeah.
If they weren't hiding, I'd ask them things.
Okay, then you asking for a break.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a 10-minute break. Is that okay? Jai Guru Dev, everybody, and welcome back. I hope you had a chance to go to the toilet and make some coffee and do what you have to do in order to be present here. So we're moving forward to our next section, Seva. Alrighty. So this is something that is really, really, really incredibly important. We've spoken so much about why are we here? Why are we on the planet? To realize our eternal relationship with God, with Sriman Narayana. Why are we here? Who are we? What is Bhakti Marga? all of these different facets that we have. And what is our supreme goal? Our supreme goal is to realize the feet of Sriman Narayana, to love him, to serve him, and realize our eternal relationship with him. Now, in Bhakti Marga, Guruji gives us various ways in order to make that possible. To make this very clear, Guruji needs nothing from us. He is a God-realized master, and we really cannot do anything for him, nothing for him. Often when we come to the ashram or when we start to get involved in Bhakti Marga, we do something small, like, organizing an Om chanting, or speaking to a person about Bhakti Marga or Guruji, or helping in the kitchen. And we think that this is such a big heroic act. Guruji doesn't need anything from us. Every single person in Bhakti Marga is completely replaceable. Why does he offer seva to us? Because when we do seva, when we do our dharma, it gives us a chance for him to take karma on, to literally take away karma. When we put in effort, he does what he has to do. That is what it is. He is removing so many things from us. He is literally killing so many demons inside of our own mind, just so it is possible for us to be on a spiritual path. Yesterday, I spoke about devotees that I know that are in Bhakti Marga, but don't do anything for Guruji and Bhakti Marga. And this is the biggest crying shame. This is the biggest pity and shame on you. Shame on you if you don't do seva, if you don't offer your help as a devotee. These requirements are there. When you take devotee initiation, you are saying that I will help to build Bhakti Marga. I will help out in the ashram in whichever way I can. I will give 10% of my tithing in order to help to promote, spread, support Bhakti Marga. These are things that you are saying. And if you cannot take this responsibility, then don't become a devotee. Because love and bhakti is an action. It's not just love. I love you. I love you. So many people say, oh, I love you, Guruji. Oh, I love you, Guruji. What does it mean? It means nothing. How do you show your love? What do you do? So what is seva? Seva means selfless service. Seva should be done with no expectation of reward or even acknowledgement of the work that is done. So Krishna speaks about this in chapter 2, verse 47. He says, do you have the right to act, but not to the fruits of your actions. And this is a lesson that you really do learn in Bhakti Marga. So I remember a couple of years ago, Sandeep will probably remember this time, I was going through a lot of stuff and I was organizing so many Om chantings, so many different Om chantings. And I got to the place that I organized, I wanted to do this Om in Delhi. And we did this Maha chanting. Many people came, Swamini came, all of these different things came. We did like a full presentation of Guruji. And after this, what do you call it? Om chanting. I was so angry. God, I was so angry with Guruji. I was so angry with Bhakti Marga. I was so angry. And I didn't want to speak about Guruji anymore. I didn't want to do any more Om chantings because inside of me, I wasn't just doing it for the love of spreading him. Yes, I do love Guruji, but there was a part of me that I wanted acknowledgement. I wanted him to say, oh, Hiranmayi, you're doing such a good job. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, Hiranmayi. Thank you. I wanted this from him so badly. I wanted acknowledgement from him. I wanted love from him. I wanted praise from him. And this is something that we will see in the way that we do our seva, in the way that we serve the Lord. So many different impurities will come out, and this is normal because as we do our seva, the Lord is cleaning us, and that is why it is important to do our dharma, because our dharma gives us a path and a way for us to also be cleaned. Every single person has got a very specific dharma to do, and the same way that every single person has a specific seva that Guruji chooses. He chooses the seva that you do according to the type of person that you are, according to the makeup that you have, and for sure, according to the complexes and the samskaras that are inside of you. Like we heard with Swami Kanchalochananda. I remember when I first came here, just as I moved to Vrindavan, Guruji bribed me to move to Vrindavan by going on a pilgrimage. That's how he did it for me. So he was like, yeah, Hiranmayi, you just come to Vrindavan just for 6 months. Just help Swamini build the ashram. And then, we'll see what happens. That's how he did it. And then he said to me, oh, I'm going to the south. So why don't you come? Just come. Just see what it's like. So I go to the south. And I've already been in Vrindavan for a couple of months. So I'm already starting to understand that what he wants and what I want are two very different things. And also that service and love for him is more important than myself. Started to understand that. So when I go on this pilgrimage, the first seva that gets given to me, there was a cameraman, Timbo, and he needed an extra person to use the video camera. I'd never picked up a video camera in my life. I'm not really somebody that likes technical things. I'm not really very interested in any of the stuff. So he gives it to me and he says to me, just go shoot Guruji whenever you can. And it was a really amazing experience because Guruji let me be with him the whole time and be able to shoot talks and satsangs that he was giving. And I was thinking, wow, that is an amazing seva because you get to be so close with him. That's an amazing thing to do. And so when I came here, I was put in charge of media. So for me to be in charge of media was like Swami Kanchalochananda being in charge of the kitchen. I don't like cameras. Yes, I did acting. I understand, but these kinds of things and the sort of effort that it takes in order to build it is not something that I really wanted to invest in. And I remember over the past 4 years, every chance that anybody came, literally, I would try pawn off the seva to them. Even to the point of saying to Guruji, don't you think that somebody else could do this better than me? Like Rishi Jatilananda, he knows so much, maybe he should be head of media. Or then this other girl came, Mahita Dasi. And I was like, don't you think that she should take over media? And over again, Guruji said to me, yeah, no, you do it. You just do it. And when this Corona, COVID, whatever happened this year, again, of course, I tried to pawn off media to somebody else. And then he was like, yeah, but Babaji does his own. Yeah, you just do it. You just do it. So when this whole thing happened, honestly, we did not really have much media, and suddenly everything went online. Everything went online. And suddenly media went from like here to the most important thing in Bhakti Marga, pretty much. I mean, not really, but visually, in terms of promotion and things like that. And it was incredible pressure. And I had to learn things and really take responsibility for something that I didn't want to do. And of course, Guruji gave me incredible help, and all the right people always come when you really need them. But this seva, sometimes you have to do seva that you don't like. Sometimes you have to do seva that you don't want. Sometimes you have to do seva that is not comfortable. Why? So you can accept something about yourself and go past limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. I'm too stupid to do media. I'm too stupid to be able to teach. I'm too stupid to be able to do this. I'm too stupid to be able to do that. All of this programming, literally Guruji just comes one by one and starts to knock them down until you start seeing yourself in a different way, and you start realizing that he is the one who's actually working through you all the time. And all we have to do is say yes. We just have to say yes. So in terms of seva, say yes. Never say no. If somebody asks you to do something, say yes. If something finishes up in front of you and you see that there's a gap, take that gap. Do it. Seva is only seva if it is done with exclusive focus on the other, making it devoid of all self-interest, making it the result of grace. In your own life, you will see that there are 1,000 different ways.
Wait, there's a question.
Okay, great.
Somebody's hand up. Just check on your screen. Kapila.
Harry Ball, very true. This is a beautiful.
No, Kapila's hand is up. The video.
Ah, Kapila, what's up?
আমার दोनों हेलो
I can hear you.
आवाज दोनों साथ में आ रही है
आप इंटरप्रिटेशन पे क्लिक करके ऑडियो म्यूट ओरिजिनल ऑडियो Sandeep, please say it in Hindi to her. She can hear you also.
Is she okay?
Yeah, I can continue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kapila, you okay? Kapila, you okay?
Yeah.
You're okay. I'm so happy you're doing this. Okay. So seva is only seva if it is done with exclusive focus on the other. Seva is not seva if you're doing it for yourself. It's as simple as that. It's not seva if you're doing it for you. Seva is seva when you're thinking about the other person. In your life, you will have so many different opportunities to do seva. Dogs, cats, people that need your help. And what is there are two big sevas before we're speaking about the physical aspect. Two sevas that are the most important. Who can guess what the first and most important seva of Bhakti Marga is? Who wants to give it a shot? The first and most important seva of Bhakti Marga.
Whatever the work is given to you, you can do it without answering.
Okay, so we're hearing whatever the work is that is given to us, we can do it without answering. Yes, this is important, but there is one that is higher. The first and most important seva is to love Guruji. This is the most important seva, to love Guruji. The second most and important seva is to love everybody around you. If you can't love people around you, then you are not, this is not seva. There is no point in doing your seva. Oh, I'll just do it. I have to do this translation. Oh, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes and just do it. This is not seva. And also not loving the team and working as a team. This is not seva. Seva is love. Seva is love. Seva is love in action. And there are so many different opportunities to love. And like I mentioned earlier, the greatest shame, the greatest waste of time is not taking opportunities to love. This is the greatest seva that we can do. And this is the only way that we will change the world in the way that Guruji wants us to change the world. And also loving ourselves. This is included. Loving Guruji, loving ourselves, loving other people. And then comes the acts. So Krishna's statements in the Gita, he who abandons all desires and lives free from longing, who has no I or my, and has extinguished the sense of egotistic self-importance, attains peace. I don't have the version here. Chapter 271. This is such a beautiful, beautiful verse. From what I remember, the other translation, which makes more sense to me, is it says that the enlightened one, the realized one, is the one where desires flow into him and he is full like a river. And then the desires just flow out of him. So he is not attaching himself to the desires. He is watching it come in and he's watching it go out. So the idea of I and mine will always be there. And let it come in and let it go out. Be okay with it. But when you get attached to it, when you hold on to the ideas of mine and I and all of this, that is when the ego will take over. And that is when we have fear, anxiety, angry. Why do we get angry with each other? Because we've got expectations of each other. We think that things should be in a certain way. And then when it doesn't work out like that, we're upset and we're disappointed. And then we blame the other person. But in the end, it is our own ideas. It's our own expectations. It's our own limiting ideas of the way that we think things should be. And the way that God wants and things should be is always very different. True peace is only attained for the one who does not live for the gratification of one's own self. This is the truth. As devotees, we will never be happy. We will never be happy if we are just trying to make ourselves happy. Happiness really comes when you think of others and when you want to make him happy. This is the most important thing. People will always be unhappy with you People will always have many different opinions about how you should be as a person. But who are you trying to make happy in the end? Him or other people? Him. Aim to make him happy. That is a huge focus. Aim to make him happy. And when we aim to make him happy, we will try to do what he wants us to do. For example, I know that making him happy is me going to prayers every day. Making me happy is sleeping in till at least 7. But I want to make him happy, which means that I have to make some sacrifices inside of myself, because I know that what he wants and for him to be happy is much more important than my small, short-term ideas of happiness. The right way to live is not with a sense of egotistic self-importance, and not to live with a sense of I and my. When you guys start to do seva, there will be a lot of I and my in it. It is normal. It is normal, especially when you start to be around Guruji. The ego starts to go crazy when you're around Guruji, because you really want to show that you're useful, special, important, useful. Because if you're useful, then you are something worth being loved. No? That's how we've been brought up. If I'm useful and valuable, then he will love me. None of that stuff is important. And also what seva we do is not important. Whether we are cleaning toilets, whether we are doing media stuff, whether we are singing bhajans, whether we are teaching as a Swami, whether we are teaching the Bhagavad Gita, whether we are feeding dogs, it doesn't make a difference what we do. He doesn't care. Everybody has got a part to play. What he cares about is if you don't play your part. And this I cannot stress more and hard enough. Sandeep should actually speak about this in terms of Guruji and playing our parts. Because if we don't play our part, this makes him very angry. Because we're not respecting ourselves, we're not respecting our part in the whole game, and we're not respecting other people. And ultimately, we're not respecting Guruji, because he has set up the whole play. So we have a part to play. Every single person on this call, where are you guys? Let me look at you while I'm trying to scream at you. Where are you guys? I've got a different view. Every single one of you has a part to play in Bhakti Marga. And if you don't play your part, this is a crying shame. And this makes Guruji angry. I can tell you. Because Bhakti Marga is not just about coming in and being served. It's about doing what you need to do to help build Guruji's mission. Not just sitting on your ass and watching everybody else run around. So there's many ways in which we can serve. And we can speak about this once you guys are more added to the devotee groups. There are things like translations that are very much needed. Zinni is here, she's in charge of translations. We need a lot of help with translations. We need people in Bhakti Marga to take initiative and speak to people, their friends, their family. Now that I'm having my session, I'm going to go for it. This Friday was India Darshan with Guruji. Do you know how many people came to see him? 200 people. Do you not feel shame? Do you not feel unbelievable shame that only 200 people came between India and Nepal? I felt incredible shame, and I was unbelievably depressed on Friday because we put in a huge amount of work, and it is not a lack of work that is coming from the ashram. It is a lack of work that is coming from devotees, and that is really something worth crying about. So these things will make a big difference, and this is our duties as devotees. Krishna's statements in the Gita, he says, whatever is done without faith, oblation, giving self-discipline, or other work is called asat, O Partha. It is worthless here or after. So Krishna speaks about the work that we're doing in chapter 17. He speaks about something called asat. And asat is like done without blessings, without faith, without bhakti. It's like if you're doing the work, but you're doing it without all of the wrong intentions. This is asat. Don't do it. You know, basically, what's the point of doing it? And this is a question of the inside. So we can be doing the actions on the outside, but if we're doing it for our own gratification, really, Guruji is not stupid. He knows exactly why we're doing things. But at the same time, rather do your seva with selfishness, with the I, with the egotism, knowing this about yourself, than not doing it. That is very bad. And that I was telling you about myself, where I was like, oh, I don't want to do it because I'm so egotistical and I'm so selfish and I'm so this and I'm so that, so I don't want to do seva. It never happened to me that I actually wasn't able to, because 3 seconds later I was like, okay, what should I do? But mentally, if you feel that about yourself, this is the wrong attitude. And we should do our duty regardless. Any action that is done selfishly, not done in the mood of worship or as an offering, is deemed worthless. Therefore, seva becomes the only action of real value, right? Doing it with love. Do you think this takes time, or do you think this is immediate? What do you think? This takes time. This takes time. This takes practice. This takes many mistakes. This takes a lot of hard work. This takes a lot of bashing. This takes a lot of ego drops. This takes a lot of being kicked in the head by Guruji until you start to understand what it is to serve with love and also to serve from the right place. And none of us really are able to do it. None of us are able to do that. But we have to keep on trying. That's why we're here. We're here to say, okay, these are my limitations. You know them more than I do, but help me to serve you. Help me to do what you want me to do. Help me. You know, so many people are scared of speaking to people. They don't want to speak to people about Guruji. Why? Because they're scared about what those people are going to think of them. Do you know people like this? Show me some hands. I know many people like this all around the world, not just in India. And you see, what is that will stop you from speaking to people about Guruji? If you are scared of what people will think of you, then who are you focusing on? Yourself. If you change the focus to him, that I'm just going to speak about him, I'm not going to think about what's going to happen afterwards, but I'm just going to speak about him because I love him and because he's improved my life so many times. And no matter what the person decides to think, whether they say, oh my God, that's amazing, Hiranmayi, or Hiranmayi, please, can you shut up? Either way, I'm just expressing it because it is my truth and because you will be better off if you listen to me. But if you don't want to listen to me, that's also cool. If you do it from that place and from a place of love, then it'll be easy to speak about Guruji. The same way that if you go to a restaurant and you have an amazing meal there, you will go tell somebody, listen, do you like pasta? Wow, I had the most amazing pasta at this place. You have to go get it. It's the same thing. This is how we are as humans. If we like something, it's easy to speak about it. But when we're focusing on ourselves, it makes it difficult. Seva can be rendered in multiple ways. It is not about the act, but rather the intent and manner in which the action is performed. Yes, it doesn't make a difference what we do. Clean the streets, wipe the toilets, feed the dogs, make a movie, do puja, give a satsang. It's not the action. And don't give importance to this action means that this person is special and this person is not special. And this thing is good and that is not good. All of that is bullshit. Just do what is given to you because it means that it's for you, like a present. Seva is an offering of love, there we go, of kindness, without an expectation for acknowledgement or reward. I'll tell you a trick. I didn't know this about Guruji until recently. No, not so recently. So if Guruji says thank you to you for a seva, he's actually taken away all of your punya. Do you know that?
I heard about it.
I didn't know that until I got a big, oh, thank you, Hiranmayi. And when I got the thank you, Hiranmayi, at first I was like, why are you saying that? I don't understand. And then I realized he said it because I expected something from him, because I wanted something from him. That is why he was saying thank you. And so rather, when those expectations and all of these different things are there and we want things from him, he rather takes away the punya than leave us in like a karmic situation. So that's how he is. If he says thank you to you, you're not in a good place. Also, if he gives you many compliments, you're not in a good place. I'm telling you, experience. If he screams at you, if he shouts you, if he sort of ignores you, you're doing okay. If he is very, very kind and sweet to you, think about it. Think about it. Sri Krishna tells us that a life lived for one's ego is worthless, since this ego perishes. Yes, it will. But a life lived in service to the Supreme is the most valuable and rewarding life of all. What are we going to invest our time in? Permanent happiness or short-term happiness? That is the question for us as devotees. What is it that we're going to invest our time in? The small things that make me happy, the small acts that make me happy, the small ways in which I think my life should be, my comfort, my convenience, or the big acts, which is definitely not comfortable, which is definitely not convenient, which really grows me, pulls me, stretches me, and brings me closer to God. This is the life of a devotee. Any questions?
No.
For all of the new devotees, I think what we can do is we can come up with a list from the ashram of different sevas that are needed. And then you make sure that you get seva. You take responsibility and you make sure that you are doing seva. This is the most important thing. Because then you are giving yourself a chance to really develop a closer relationship with Guruji and know him in a different way. Because you'll be able to see how he acts through you. And it's really miraculous what he can do. It's miraculous what he can do. Right, what we did not cover in this course, who is Paramahansa Vishwananda? We will get there. Abhirami will do it maybe in a week, 2 weeks. Who is Mahavatar Babaji? If I can, I'll try cover a little bit later. What is Bhakti Marga, the mission? I'll speak about that soon. What do we mean by just love? I will get there. What is the organizational structure of Bhakti Marga? It might be in there. Temple prayers of Bhakti Marga. It would be nice if we can organize something for you guys. Simple puja. There will be a course at the end of this month. When Rishika Abhirami does Paramahansa Vishwananda, I think Chandra will offer a simple puja course so you guys learn how to do puja. Bhakti Marga sadhanas, I'll try my best to speak about at least Atma Kriya Yoga today. Bhakti Marga events and festivals, we'll get there. For Bhakti Marga sadhanas, if it's too much and I'm not able to cover everything, then we can maybe organize a separate session so you guys understand about, it's not called sadhana anymore, now it's yoga and meditation. Bhakti Marga customs, we are doing this page now. Where can you learn about these topics? Here. Okay. What have we received? Are we on the same slide?
No, I don't need to click so many times.
Sorry, I'm on, devotee summary. Next. Yep. What have we received? We have received a clear identity and culture. I hope you guys understand what it means to be a devotee of Paramahansa Vishwananda, at least much more clearly than you did a week ago. Okay. Ultimately, we are Guru Bhaktas, and our experiences with Guruji are the reason we have taken initiation into Bhakti Marga. Really? That's it? Because we love him, because we love him, because we want to serve him, and because we want to know him more. We want to know him more inside of ourselves. And because we feel that he is the way for us, that he is the one that will deliver us home. He is the journey and he is the way. We live our lives within the context of Sanatana Dharma. As devotees, we are not normal people. I'm stressing that again. We are not normal people. Don't try to be normal. What I mean by that is for my whole life, I tried to be normal. I tried so many things to be normal. You won't even believe it. But in my quest of trying to be normal, I couldn't accept myself the way that God made me. And the truth is that we are not normal. We are here to love and serve God. So don't try put yourself in association or think that you have to be different. This is how you are made. This is the reason why you are here. So spend time with Bhakti Marga community. Spend time with Sangha. Join everything online. Listen to Guruji online. Really immerse yourself in all of these teachings, because this is what will carry you forward. If you just try to be like everybody else, it won't work. It won't work. It's not who you are. It's not who you're meant to be. This means that we believe we are the Atma attempting to realize Brahman. We found ourselves in Shrishti because of our karma, and we're going through the process of samsara. To resolve the situation, we learn and practice Dharma, the right way of life. Ultimately, this will lead us to moksha. This is why we are here. And as devotees, don't get stuck. It's very easy to get stuck in the material world. You guys are all living outside there. It's very easy, like this, to get stuck into my children, my family, my life, trying to make everybody happy. It's very simple. It's very simple to forget about God. So we have to make him the core fundamental truth and basis of everything, so that when we have children, our children come and get pulled to him. The people that we marry, you guys work together to go closer to him together. The people that surround you in the office, they know about him. Speak about him. Don't be shy about who you are. We live out our path through the theological lens of Sri Vaishnavism. We believe that the eternal devotional service to Sriman Narayana is the supreme goal of life. Our philosophy is Vishishta Advaita Vedanta for now, right? Remember, now we are moving to the Hari Bhakta Sampradaya, a system formalized by Sri Ramanujacharya. We believe that all the deities are parts of Sriman Narayana. All may be worshipped as facets of the Lord. Satguru and God are worshipped simultaneously. One reveals the other. Also, all forms of God are literally situated inside of Guruji. And this is something that he has shown. When you pray to him, when you speak about him, when you think about him, you are speaking and praying to the highest. In our present reality, we are unable to perceive the Lord or the true nature of the Satguru. Our sadhana bhakti and worship will lead us to the realization of the ultimate reality. What is our sadhana bhakti? We have to put in our part. Our part is doing our practices, thinking about him, service, puja, singing to God, bhajans, Atmakriya yoga, japa mantra. This is what helps us for sadhana bhakti to eventually become Sharanagati. Our philosophy proposes bhakti and Sharanagati as the marga, the path to attain the supreme goal of life. To begin that journey, we encourage with the Lord in some of the principal ways in which the Lord makes himself available. We begin by cultivating a relationship with the Lord as Nam. For that, we receive initiation into the Rahasya Traya mantras. Next, we establish our worship of a deity. Guruji asks us to learn and perform puja. He encourages us to read and study the Shastras, to connect and familiarize ourselves with the beloved Lord. These 3 formulative steps of sadhana bhakti allow us to safely and systematically develop our relationship with God. As a result of this, the Lord will gradually reveal himself to us in many more ways, both inner and outer. So ultimately, what this says is we have to put in our effort, we have to do our part. If we don't do our part, God will not reveal himself to us. We get what we give. We take 1 step, he takes 100 steps, but he will not even take 1 step if our interest is not there. We have to really say, I want you. I don't want this person. I don't want that person. I don't want attention. I don't want compliments. I don't want Maya. I don't want the money. I want you. And we have to be able to show that to him. All this philosophy and ideology is important, but can often seem abstract. We must find a practical way to live in that identity. Yes. The 12 pillars of Dharma serve as best system for our practical day-to-day life. Remember, this is what you did with Rishika Abhirami last night. We understand that our behavior towards God, others, and ourselves is a crucial part of our path. We must strive to be selfless, compassionate, and loving in all of our actions. I'll repeat that. We must strive to be selfless, compassionate, and loving in all of our actions. Does this mean that we get to be pushovers? No. Love does not mean that you get to be a pushover. Guruji is not a pushover. Final thoughts. Knowledge is only useful only so long as it helps us to advance in our bhakti and surrender. Reading all of the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, learning stories about God, just for the sense of showing how smart we are, it's not going to get us anywhere. The only reason we have the Devotee Course, we offer these courses, is to help you and ourselves go deeper into our own relationships with God. This is the only point that we're doing this. Everything else is for a show. And believe me, Guruji doesn't like a show. This may happen directly as we hear the Leelas of the Lord, or perhaps indirectly as we have our doubts removed by our profound philosophy. This education that Guruji has provided for us is designed to ground us and root us firmly on our spiritual path. Remember what I was saying about being that tree with the roots that are solid, so the wind comes, it doesn't blow over? This is what he wants from every single one of us. We cannot be these flimsy devotees that he does one test and we're like, boop, one insult and we're gone. He doesn't, answer our messages. He doesn't give us attention. He doesn't like our service. He doesn't look at us. He speaks to everybody else. Oh, he manifests rings for this person and that person. He doesn't love me. He doesn't give me deities. He doesn't hold my hand. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. The list is so long. And as long as we're going to be with that attitude, God is very far away from us. But when we see what he does give us, is what we need. And when we're not so reliant on the outside, but we say, okay, God, you know my desires. You know I want your attention. You know I want you to speak to me. What to do? I'm human. But please help me understand that you're inside of me and that what you give me is for me. You know, you have to have a conversation with him. It's a relationship. This education that Guruji has provided, right, for us is designed to ground us and root us firmly on our spiritual path. Take your time to study, reflect, and meditate on all that you have received. By his grace, it will have the desired effect. I really hope so. So, this is the end of the Devotee Course as we know it. Don't get excited. We're not finished for today. But let's quickly go through some questions before, and we can have another 10-minute pee break. Yeah? Do you guys want another 10-minute pee break, or are you okay?
Ask Sandeep.
Yes, they
You can
want.
ask Sandeep.
You want?
Sandeep says yes.
Yes.
Sandeep, I'm telling you, your satsang is coming to these people. I'll translate it for you. Okay, so any questions before about anything about the Devotee Course? The next section that we're going to move on is BM Customs, which is about the tilak, which is about the logo, which is about more relaxed stuff. Jai Gurudev. So we're on to our last legs. What is the difference between being a devotee and being a disciple? So many years ago, he came to South Africa, and I remember when I met him, I said to him, "Oh my God, I'm so happy I found you." And he said to me, "No, no, no. I came here to find you. That's why I came here, to find you." And that is the work of a good shepherd. A good shepherd will come and find all of his flock time and time and time again. Now, to be a devotee, you see, the word disciple and devotee, yeah, go for it, is like in our minds, don't even think about disciple. Who asked that? Kathy. Oh, Sumandasi. Don't even think about that because it's not important. A devotee, if you're concentrated in what a devotee means to love the Lord and to serve the Lord. Concentrate on that. A disciple, I would say, is somebody that is already completely single-pointed. That's what I would say.
Uttama Bhakta.
Yeah, an Uttama Bhakta. And that we have, even if we are disciples, some of us, of Guruji, you know, when you become a brahmachari, it says that you are my disciple. It doesn't mean that we behave in that way always. So humility must play a big part in it. Think of yourself of how much you still have to learn, how much you still have to grow, how much you still have to shed in order to become the devotee that he wants you to be. That is my opinion. Always think of yourself as a devotee. Whether you are a devotee a brahmachari, a rishi, whatever, I would say always think of yourself first and foremost as a devotee. And whatever the rest is between you and Guruji. Whatever opportunity you can have in order to learn, grow, and put yourself more humble, take that. Because if you take ownership that I am a disciple of Guruji, your ego has got exponential possibilities to think that you are special, that you know more than anybody else. Do you understand what I mean? Don't do that. That is not at all what he wants. Think of yourself as a devotee. Think of yourself as a bhakta. Think of yourself as a lover of God. And that way, you will always move closer and closer to him. As you know, we are from a Hindu family background, but our society and peoples around us are very much rooted on their old patterns and costume. Yep. Everybody thinks like going to the temples on Dashera or some particular day makes them religious. Some old people sing bhajans every Saturday on the temples, but they don't hesitate to hit the dog while walking on the street. I see everybody have pain, sadness, frustration, and so on. In some extent, I also have some frustration. I want to help everybody. I want to tell everybody, come, I have a guru to take us to another side of the river. But they are very much rooted. I feel blessed. Out of a sudden, my mother became vegetarian. Wow. Last year. And she started taking darshan. Double wow. My dad also joined us in the online darshan. Wow. I feel happy some transformation gets started from my own family. I talk about Guruji a little here and there. I feel they are not yet ready to listen to me fully. I wish they will come to the feet of Sriman Narayana. Oh, Bandana Das, you're the cutest. You're so cute and I love you. And you're still Banana Das to me. So what you're saying is so true. And the only thing that we can do is focus on ourselves. You see, when we change, automatically the people around us will change. And by the people, why? Guruji says something very beautiful. Be the flower. Be the beautiful flower that you are. And all of the bees will come. The bees that don't want the flower won't come to the flower. Be that flower. Just be the flower. Be yourself. Do your Atma Kriya Yoga. Focus on him. Be his light in the world. And just by being yourself is the biggest seva that you can do. That is the biggest seva you can do. Doing your own sadhana, loving him, loving people around you, and doing Atma Kriya Yoga, japa, puja. By you doing this, you're literally transforming yourself into divine. And when you transform yourself into divine, people will look at you and say, wait a minute, I remember that guy. He was so different a year ago. He was so different 2 years ago. Why is he looking so happy? This corona is going on. Life is falling apart. Everybody is dying, but this guy is looking like better than he's ever looked. What's going on here? And then they will start to ask, what's happening with you? Why are you looking like this? Because it confuses people. It really confuses people. So just be yourself. And look how your parents have already changed just by you being yourself. That is a beautiful seva. And that is perfect. And just be yourself. And whatever the people around you, whatever happens, happens. Old people are difficult. Even Guruji says that. On a bus, he was so funny. He said, what was it? He said that anybody who's over 60 needs to be killed so they can come back again and restart because the mind is so stuck. Not you, Sumandasi, relax, not you. Your mind is already very open to God. But he was saying that once you reach a certain age, the mind gets so fixed in its ideas. And that is very much how it is with religion, because it's based on dogma. It's not based on love of God, which is a very different thing. And not everybody understands that. So we have to send them love. We have to pray for them. And just pray that they have a chance to feel the love of God. Anybody else want to say anything? Okay. So then, moving on, BM Customs. Bhakti Marga Customs. The Bhakti Marga Tilak. Mine is now nicely sort of smudged off my face. Mark or a symbol traditionally worn on the forehead by a Hindu to showcase his specific spiritual affiliation. In India, you see, in the West, people who are brahmacharis, people who are devotees in the world, don't have to wear a tilak. But here in India, especially in Vrindavan, how do you know where somebody belongs? Because of the tilak on their face. That's how you know where somebody belongs. It's the mark of the sampradaya. And so specifically, I remember when we first moved here to Vrindavan, people were looking at us. They could see that we were a Vaishnava, but they didn't quite understand what, who, how come it's different. And every single time any one of us from Bhakti Marga goes to Loy Bazaar, you hear everybody screaming, Jai Gurudev. Why? Because of the tilaks on our face. That's why. That is how they know where we belong. So it brings protection and prosperity to its bearer. This is so true. When you're traveling, when you are, it's up to you whether you want to wear it in the world to your work. Some people have huge problems with their bosses if they're living in a corporate setting. I don't think going to work with a big tilak on your face is going to do you well. No. Even in India? No, I don't think so. So, of course, you don't need to rock the boat, but it does change the way that people see you. And for myself, when I was doing a lot of traveling in India, Guruji told me always to wear the tilak. Why? Because it protects me, and it did protect me. The most amazing people were always around me. And nothing, I'm a woman that literally traveled 2 years on trains by myself. So many different hours. I never asked anybody to come with me, nothing. And Guruji let me go. And why? Because I was so unbelievably protected, always. And this tilak is also a sign of that. There's a very beautiful picture. Was it a picture, Tila, or a video? Mm-hmm. It was a picture of, somebody took a picture of the tilak and it had light like this. Do you remember this?
Photo.
It was a photo of somebody with a tilak on, and there was like literally light coming out of the tilak. And that is what happens. It's amazing how Guruji uses so many different things to draw people to you, to protect people from you. It's amazing how he works. Each Hindu sect has its own specific tilak. Yes, this is how we know where we belong. The Bhakti Marga tilak is an adapted version of the tilak of the Sri Sampradaya. So this is our tilak. Our tilak, I remember for years I didn't know how to draw it. I was so bad, to the point that Guruji shoved me in a bathroom in South Africa, took out all of my tilak stuff and personally drew it on for me. He was like, seriously, when are you going to be able to do this? And he drew it maybe for me 3 different times. until I could eventually kind of get the tilak. So how you draw it, I don't know, it comes with practice. You need a tilak set. So you have the Vishnu Padam, which is this part over here, right? The Vishnu Padam, which are the feet of the Lord. This part Guruji specifically added. This is not naturally inside of the Sri Sampradaya. You know, it gets cut off over here. So this asan, this tulsi leaf, which is over here, is specifically for devotion. That's what it symbolizes. It's the devotion that we have for the Lord. And the bindu inside of it is the dot of the Guru, keeping the focus on the Guru, because we are Guru Bhaktas. Then it's the feet of the Lord, Sriman Narayana, as the Vishnu Padam. Always keep our feet on the path. So staying with his feet almost, that's how I imagine it. With his feet on either side, it's like protecting us and keeping us in the center. And then the inner part is Mahalakshmi, and she is the consort of the Lord. Through her grace, she literally takes us to the feet of him. She is the one that intercedes in our behalf. And she says, please, my children, they're so badly behaved. They don't even know what they're doing. They're so naughty. Lord, please, husband, have mercy on this one who is really quite pathetic right now. But can't you see that he's trying? That's what her part is. And then he says, okay, my wife, for you, I'll give this one another chance. Right? So it's her intercession that is always there, and that it tapers up till the end very thinly, because what it's saying is it's moving from away from the spiritual realm. So in short, Vishnu Padam, Mahalakshmi, Asan, right? The Tulsi and the Bindi inside, which is representing the Guru. People will ask you, you must remember that. This is just showing the different sects of Sri Sampradaya. We've got Vadakalai in the north and Tenkalai in the south. As you can see, ours looks a little bit more like the Tenkalai, and we are more like that. The Vishnu Padam, we are surrendered to the feet of Sriman Narayana, and they are our goal. By wearing the tilak, every time we bow down, we are automatically bowing down to the feet of the Lord. When we do this in the morning, we should say Om Keshavaya Namaha when we apply the 2 lines. So we take it, we have to use, I don't know, I suppose everybody does it differently. You have to kind of use a tilak stick. Om Keshavaya Namaha is how you draw it. Then the asan, which normally we use this finger. I don't know, Jatila, do you use something different?
Middle finger.
Middle finger, yeah. Middle finger. And the tulsi represents devotion, the seat, the asan, which upon which the bindi, the guru dot, resides. It is the foundation of the path, because the foundation has to be bhakti, it has to be love. Devotion is the core principle of our spiritual path. It is the very nature of our soul's relationship to the divine. Chant Om Shri Tulsi Devaya Namaha when applying leaf formed part on the bottom of the Vishnu Padam, right? Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Tulsi Devaya Namaha. Next is the bindi, which you're going to use the stick for. The Guru dot is symbolic of the living Guru that we have, and that spiritual fulfillment cannot be attained without the master. I'll repeat that. Spiritual fulfillment cannot be attained without the master. It is impossible without Guruji and his grace. Without him being present in our life, we remain in ignorance, and the Vishnu Padam, the goal of life, cannot be attained. What an unbelievably miserable life it would be without Guruji. Chant Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha when applying the red dot, right? So we have Om Shri Keshavaya Namaha, Om Tulsi Devaya Namaha, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. And Mahalakshmi is the consort of Sriman Narayana, and through her intercession, we attain to his feet. She also represents the material world. Therefore, as the line rises up to the forehead, it narrows and fades, showing the decrease in material attachment and identification as we progress along this spiritual path. Chant Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha when applying the red line. The asan and the bindu are additions made by Guruji. Traditionally, it is the tilak is worn on the 12 parts of the body. As the Agnya chakra is the seat of the soul in the body, this tilak alone is sufficient to showcase one's affiliation to the sampradaya. If you want to, you can do other tilaks, but this one is at least compulsory. For those of you that are living in the world, when you come to the ashram, when you go to a temple, wear your tilak. Wear your tilak. Woe behold on you if Guruji finds you without a tilak. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's important. And especially those of you, the devotees that are living here in Vrindavan, you should be wearing a tilak. Why not? Why not? At first, it is a little bit strange, it's true, if you're not used to it. It is true. But like everything, it just becomes a habit. Like everything. Any questions about this tilak?
You can share the photo where the light is shown.
Okay, great.
It's there.
Oh, wow, there it is. You see it? That's a crazy photo.
And then also Guruji drew the Vishnu Padam for Pankaj last week.
He drew the what?
Vishnu Padam. So look, he's drawn the feet on the tilak.
Oh, wow, that's so amazing. It's the feet of the Lord on your forehead. That's so amazing. Wow. How amazing. Wow. God, that picture of that kid is crazy. So cute. Okay. Any questions about this? Why do we bow down to Guruji? We bow down as a sign of respect to the teacher. I've seen it that Guruji literally, not by doing anything. There was another devotee that was here in Vrindavan and he had never actually bowed down to everybody before. And he had a huge resistance inside of him to bow down to a master, a guru. You know, people have got so many different ideas in their own minds about a master, a guru, especially here in India. And he told me that as he started to approach Guruji, he felt his knees conk in. And then he felt somebody go like this to his back, like boom. And he finished up with his head on the floor. And he did not want to bow down, but he finished up, boom, flat on the floor. So when you see Guruji, you don't have to bow down a million times. Once is enough. When you see him, bow down to him. We bow down as a sign of respect. And to say that, of course, you know more than I do. I don't know anything. You know, he is the one that knows everything. As a request for blessings, guidance, and shelter, we bow down to his feet. It is symbolic of our absolute surrender. And this is called Vandana Bhakti. So Vandana Bhakti, if we have a chance, we'll speak about the different bhaktis. in Bhakti Marga, and they're associated to Atmakriya Yoga. In Atmakriya Yoga, literally, Guruji takes you through all of the bhaktis, the 9 forms of bhakti that he taught Bhakta Prahlad. And so Vandana Bhakti means that I bow down to you, I worship you, I don't know more than you, and I humbly pranam at your feet. Prabhus can do a full prostration. Matajis don't. We don't do a full prostration. You can just bow down as you can. But men, if you want to go all the way, you can go all the way. How do we bow down to gurus and swamis? First of all, to Guruji. First of all, for Guruji, if we're going to bow down, if we want to touch his feet, we ask for his permission. We don't just grab his feet. Please, people, we don't just grab his feet. He will kick you. Well, he's kind. He might not kick you. I've seen him kick people. But even that is incredible grace. So we have to ask his permission. Guruji, can I touch your feet? And then he will say yes or no. If he doesn't put his feet out, just bow down in front of him and don't go for the feet. Like, don't grab them, you know? We should touch his feet with our heads, not just our hands, right? So you put your head on his feet like that. And of course, after he has said yes, and normally he will make space for you, like he'll step forward so you can do it. If he doesn't do that, don't go for it. Just bow down where you're at. To swamis, you never bow down to another swami in the presence of Guruji. It's a huge insult to do that. Huge insult. Here, if Swamini is here, then of course, out of a sign of respect, you can bow down, but you don't go and touch her feet and hold her feet and do all of that stuff. No, no, you don't do that. You bow down out of respect. Right? So yes, without touching their actual feet with either hands or head, but rather on the floor. So you do it on the floor in front of the person. You don't just grab. Yeah? Okay. Are we clear on this front? No grabbing. No grabbing. How to speak to Guruji. Just before I move to that, why? Because it's polite to ask for permission. Also, there's so much karma that he takes when you do things like that, that he has to give you permission to do that. You can't just take. With reference to Guruji, really wait for him to show you what to do. Don't just push yourself in front and show that you know what you're doing. This doesn't work well. Guruji is omnipresent. If he wants you to do something, he will show you what to do. And he can be very verbal about things like that. You don't need to make yourself visible to him. You're very visible to him. So, how to speak to Guruji? First of all, one should ask for permission. You don't just go up to him like, hey, how's it going? What's up, man? You don't just do that to him. If you want to say something to him, say it in your own heart. Guruji, I really want to speak to you. And then, for better or for worse, it's up to him whether he speaks to you. What to do? He's a Satguru. We can't just say, oh my God, Guruji, I have this problem and that problem and this problem and that problem and this person and that person. No, unless he comes up to you and he says, hey, what's up? What's happening with this person and that person? Then you have the opportunity to say whatever. But you don't just walk up to him and ask. You can say to him, Guruji, I want to speak to you. Is it possible to speak with you? And then it's completely up to him whether he says yes or no, or whether he comes and speaks to you. Also, from what I see, he does it in his own time. So sometimes he needs to really build up your expectations and your desperation to speak with him. And then only when you're a little bit over it, or you're like, oh, I've given up, he doesn't want to speak to me, and all of those expectations are like, then he will say, oh, Jai Gurudev, how are you? I haven't seen you, or something really like that. He's very good at playing these games. If he is sitting, one should never stand. Best to always be seated lower than him, of course, unless he tells you. Right? Sometimes he may want to pretend that he is your friend, and in which case you go along with it. If he wants to sit next to you and you're there, you might move down. He may say, no, stay. Then you stay and you speak to him. So one should cover one's mouth with one's hand. Let's say it's a darshan and he's actually here. Please God, it happens to us soon. And you want to ask him something in darshan. You don't just like speak to him in his face like this. No, you put your hand over your mouth. First of all, God forbid you've got bad breath. You don't need to breathe it all over Guruji, number one. And number two, it's rude. No, you like cover your mouth and then you speak to him. If one is walking with him, one should never walk ahead of him, but instead at least a half step behind him. Please. Also, if you're on pilgrimage with him, if you're doing outward things with him, don't just say, oh, come, let's go see this, let's go do that. Let him be the guide. He knows what he wants to do and what he has to do. You just wait for him to show you, right, what you should be doing. In this way, it can be very relaxing because you don't ever have to make the first move. Hurry ball to that. It's a nice thing. Temple behavior. The temple is the house of God. So show one's love and respect for the deities. When entering the temple, bow down fully or touch the floor with the hands. Oh my God, I've got one thing. Please don't do that half thing where you go to Guruji's feet. Here in India, people do it all the time. You know what I'm speaking about? When you have a guru and then it's like a half job where you're like gonna go for the feet, but you're not really gonna go for the feet. So you just land up doing like a quick little quickie thing. It's like you're gonna like, if you want to pay for a meal and you're on a date and you're not sure if you're gonna pay or not, or the other person's gonna pay. So you do the half reach for the wallet just to show your intention of paying, although you weren't really gonna pay in the first place. It's the same thing. Don't do that. It's terrible. Okay. So when entering the temple, bow down fully or touch the floor with the hands, and then bring one's hand to either the heart or the head. Bow down fully when you're in the temple, at least to say hello to the deities, and at least when you're leaving, bow down. Take the dust of the feet of the devotees of, taking the dust of the feet of the devotees of the Lord. Never position one's feet or sit with the back towards the deity of the Satguru. Oh my God, this is a big one. When you're with Guruji, please God, don't put your feet facing him or the deities, but please God, don't put your feet facing him. People do it all the time. It's so bad. If you don't know what to do with yourself, cover your feet, cover your shawl, like cover yourself so that your feet aren't revealed. This is probably the best thing to do than putting yourself in an awkward situation. So don't do that. It's very offensive. If he sees your feet towards the deities or your back towards the deities also, he'll be very upset. In our temple, of course, sometimes you see us, I suppose also with the media stuff, because our backs are sometimes towards the deities. There's nothing really you can do sometimes about the setup, but please be aware when you're here, don't do it to him. And if you can, do everything you can to position yourself properly and in a respectful manner. Don't forget, even if Guruji is pretending to be your friend, he's not. Yes, he's your closest friend, but he's not your friend. He's the Lord. So don't get that feeling of, he's very good at making you feel that feeling of, oh, buddy, like slap on the back kind of thing. But don't forget who you're sitting with. Don't forget that he is giving you that feeling, so he's helping you relate to him, not vice versa. He's doing that out of his own mercy. In the temple, remain silent and do not engage in any idle talk. No smartphones, join bhajans and prayers. Yeah, so in Mauritius, Guruji, I don't know if any of you saw recently in the satsangs, he literally kicked like half of Mauritius out of the temple because nobody was clapping and singing. And he said, if you're just going to come and sit here, then you may as well sit at home. I don't want to see your faces. So even if you don't know the prayers, that's okay. Clap, at least clap. Clap. And try to join in, you know, because that's what he wants. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for being with God. It's not a time for being with other people or thinking about what other people think of you and all of the stupid stuff that goes on inside of our own minds. So join for bhajans and prayers. Follow the dress code. Yes, if you're a woman, don't let things hang all over the place. Make yourself neat. Cover your head in a temple. If you're a man, let's say you want to come to this temple. Often people are upset because they can't do arti. The only reason you're not able to do arti is because for a man, you're not in a dhoti, and for a woman, you're not in a sari. There are no reasons beyond this that you cannot do arti. So dress properly, wear a tilak. Don't touch the deities. Yes, when Guruji is here and he does abhishekam, for example, on Giridhari, whoa, he is very particular about how his deities are treated. So when you offer, for example, Panchamrit or water to Giridhari, do not touch Giridhari. Lift your hand up so that the water flows quite a while on top of his head. Don't be too close to the deities. And also, don't touch Guruji unless he lets you touch him, unless he hugs you or does something. Don't just jump on him. I know you want to, I understand the feeling, but you can't jump on him unless he lets you jump on him. Right. Don't put prayer books on the floor. So these are the Pratana prayer books that are here. These prayer books are Saraswati Devi herself. So don't put her on the floor like that. Don't step over her like that. It's not nice. It's not respectful. Everything that we have, we really need to try respect to the best of our abilities. And if you look at Guruji as an example, please don't take the people who live in the ashram as an example. We're not good examples. Take Guruji as an example. The way that he treats things, the way that he treats books, the way that he keeps things. He has such incredible respect for everybody and everything, from a cell phone to the temple book to a mug, everything he does is with such incredible care and grace and attention. We should really strive to be like that. He has so much awareness and love and respect for everything. We really need to be like that. Any questions so far?
No.
Everybody okay still? I'll take it as a yes. Why are we vegetarian? Okay, I want to hear some ideas. Why are we vegetarian? Anybody?
Did you just press something?
Can somebody share why do you think that we are vegetarian? My battery.
This battery.
So just unmute yourselves. Any ideas? Why do you think that we are vegetarian? Anybody? So we are vegetarian because food affects our body and mind, physically and energetically. Every single thing that we eat, every single thought that we think, every single action we take has got an effect on us, but especially in the food that we eat. This is why Ayurveda is so important. And Krishna speaks length about this, about us and the gunas. So we inside of us have got rajas, sattva, and tamas. If you guys don't know about this, you can join our Bhagavad Gita classes on Thursdays. So when we eat food, if let's say it is something like meat, meat is very tamasic because it is dead. It's dead. Not only is it dead, but we're literally eating. You see, back in the day, when people, many thousands of years ago here in India, even in Ayurveda, I studied Ayurveda before I moved to Vrindavan. So in Ayurveda, there's many recipes and there's many medicines that are actually in Charaka Samhita. They recommend many different like meat products, especially for things like vata disorders, which is like you're not enough strength inside of the body. But the way that they used to take a life is so different to the way that we take lives now. Now, thousands and thousands and thousands of animals are being slaughtered in the most hideous way. And they're so fearful. Animals have a soul. They have group souls, but they have souls. Animals are a part of God the same way that we are. Animals have karma. And we literally have to move through the species until we have the grace of becoming human. They're also on this journey to becoming human. Now, when they have a life that finishes up in a, what do you call it? An animal slaughter place.
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse. And all of their brothers and sisters are inside of them. Their hooves are tied. And they literally are being slaughtered one by one in front of each other, being starved, being stuffed with hormones and injections. They have a huge amount of fear inside of them. This fear, we eat it. So we're not just eating meat, we're eating fear, we're eating anger, we're eating karma, we're eating so many things that the animal is going through. And when we eat it, we digest it and it becomes part of us. So if we're eating so much fear, anger, hatred, what do you think is going to happen to our minds, let alone our bodies? Anger, fear, hatred, we become what we eat, right? So this is really not helpful. The argument is, yes, but also eating a lettuce leaf brings karma. Yes, eating a lettuce leaf also brings karma. Breathing right now is bringing me karma. Everything brings karma, but the one karma is very different to the other. And so if we can help ourselves on a path that is so difficult to realize ourselves, can't we try making the load a little bit lighter? No? It's like trying to walk up a mountain and then putting tons of cans in our backpack, making it so heavy for ourselves. Or are we going to travel light and make the journey much lighter? It's this kind of idea. Oh, my plug. I need a charger. So, ahimsa is the least harm possible. And eating meat is not necessary anymore for our survival. And it is entirely optional for most people in today's society. It's true. We're not starving. We're not starving. We do not need to hunt a pigeon in order to get enough protein in order to survive the winter months like we did thousands of years ago. These options are not important anymore. So we can adopt a different lifestyle. Thanks, Jatila. Awesome, thank you. Any questions about being vegetarian? I know this is normally a big topic. Yes, in Bhakti Marga, I'll tell you a story about my sister. So I know some of you guys had the dilemma about in Bhakti Marga, you have to become vegetarian, and also you can't feed animals to your family members, and you can't feed animals even to your dogs. And initially I was thinking, wow, well, that's pretty harsh, because, if you're not eating it yourself, what's the big deal? It does make a difference energetically. And also, there are sacrifices that we have to make in order to become devotees of Guruji. These are the small sacrifices that we make to ourselves. And that is what it's about. So my sister, I'm originally, well, now I'm Hindu, as you can see, but I'm born Jewish. So in the Jewish culture, we eat a lot of meat and chicken and fish and all of these different types of things. So I was brought up eating these things. And my sister, she's got a family and she's got 3 kids, and they eat, I suppose, a normal amount, like any family, of chicken in their household, especially on Friday night, which is Shabbat. God knows why, but Jews eat chicken on Friday night. I don't understand, but it's there. So it was a very big deal for her. She really wanted to become a devotee. And the thing that was really stopping her was this. And she felt a lot of pressure from her husband and from her kids, she was the major cook. And it took a lot of courage for her to tell them that I love you, I am cooking vegetarian. If you want meat, you can go eat it somewhere else. Or you can buy it somewhere, cook it and eat it. And she was so scared of actually having this conversation with her husband and also her kids. And when she did, it was so liberating for her. It was so liberating for her. She also has a cat that also eats all of these fishes and all of these different kinds of things. And she also had to make sure that somebody takes the responsibility of feeding the cat. And she did. And so she felt so liberated by this. And she made it very clear for her family that I love you, but this is the line for me. In every other way, I'm here, but for me, this is what's really important for me. And it was an awesome step in her own spiritual path to take that responsibility for herself as a person. And she really grew from it. And that is what Guruji, why does he put these rules here? Specifically for that, so that we can become more clear about what is important to us, what our priorities are, and so we can grow closer to him on our spiritual path. Dakshina versus donation. In Kali Yuga, there is a supreme attachment to gold and money. It's true. There is. And Abhirami told the story about King Parikshit. When King Parikshit, when he was going to kill Kali, you remember the story with the cow and the bull? Very first story that I think Abhirami told in Hinduism about King Parikshit, who was the grandson of Arjuna. And just as the Kali Yuga was coming in, Kali said to him, oh, please don't kick me out. And then he felt sorry for him because he was so loving and so compassionate. And he said, fine, I'll give you the places. You can be in gold. You can be in the place of prostitutes. You can be in the place of alcoholism. You can be in the casinos or wherever you are. Go be in those places. And of course, he had gold sitting on his head. So money and gold is a huge part of what deludes us in the Kali Yuga. Dakshina is given, so let me repeat, Dakshina is given as balancing energies when we receive a spiritual teaching or a blessing. When Guruji comes, we give him Dakshina because he takes so much karma from us that we have to give him something in order to say, we have to give him something in order to compensate for what he's done for us. And with that, we always say, Krishna Arpanam. It is the same when we have online darshan with Guruji. We need to give Dakshina for this. Because when he gives us darshan, he takes so much from us in so many different ways. When you get teachings, spiritual teachings, even from the center, we need to give something back, right? When you get initiated, you will give Dakshina. Donation is something very different. Donation is when you do courses with us, when you want to give for out of your own free self, that there's no real energy exchange to be given, but when you say, okay, I want to out of my own heart give you something, but there is no real debt to repay. Dakshina, debt. We have to try compensate for this huge debt that he leaves us with. Both are used for the benefit of the entire mission. Any questions about Dakshina and donation from anybody here? When you give a donation to Bhakti Marga India, you on the Bhakti Marga India, bhaktimarga.in, there is a donation registration form. We need this for legal purposes in India. So I know it's irritating, but we need to be able to trace every single donation that comes into Bhakti Marga. That is why we ask for a PAN card. That is why we ask you how much, So we need to know this so that Guruji's mission runs properly here in India. We're trying to make donations easier. We would love to do things like PayPal, like what is the one here in India? Paytm. We want to be able to do things like this. Right now, it's not possible. Hopefully, in time, it will be more possible. But for now, I know it's difficult, but every single person, devotees, please don't just give donations to us. Send us also a receipt of the donation that you've given. We need proof of payment. Without proof of payment, we and Guruji get into trouble. So we're not doing it so that we're irritating and we're being over pedantic. We're doing it so that Bhakti Marga can function here in India. How to greet each other. Jai Gurudev. That is what we say to each other, very simply. Both to the inner and outer Guru, Vaishnava Pranam mantra can be chanted amongst initiated devotees. Right? We went through this mantra this morning. And Swamis greet each other by bowing down to each other. So we don't need to, if you want to bow down to each other in terms of Sangha, you're welcome to. But basically, we just put our arms together and we say, Jai Gurudev. And that covers many bases in Bhakti Marga. Then this is going back to the Vaishnava mantra. Vanchakalpa tarupyascha kripa sindhuba evacha patitanam pamnevebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. I can't remember the exact tune. Can you say it, Jatila?
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha krita sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Yeah, that's a much better way of doing it. So it says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. They are full of compassion for everyone, even for fallen souls. These are the devotees of the Lord, the ones that are the most generous, the ones that are most merciful, the ones that are the most compassionate. And Sumandasi, like I said before, focus on being a devotee of the Lord. Focus on being a bhakta. This way, we will always be clear of what our role is, of what our identity is, and focus on seeing that and seeing God in everybody. Everybody doing okay? How to take prasad. Literally means that which is of life, prana and truth, sat. Offering the food to the deity equals offering our ignorance and our worldly attachments. So when we do when we offer the food to the Lord, when you do the simple puja course, you'll learn how to do that and the exact mantra that we are offering when we do that. But when we're offering food to the Lord, we're asking him to remove our ignorance and our attachments to the world. Afterwards, it becomes the bestower of wisdom. So as a devotee, we don't actually understand the power of prasad. Prasad literally can completely free us. I had an experience when Guruji was here. It must have been last year. I can't remember what he gave me. What did he give me? Huh? No, it wasn't a laddu. It was something else. When he gives you prasad, he's giving you something very special to remove something inside of you. Don't share it with anyone. If he gives it to you, He's giving it to you for a very specific reason. Don't share it with anyone. Oh, I've got a nasty story about that as well. Let me first tell you my story, number one. So when I was here in the kitchen, I can't remember what I was going through. It was a bit of a difficult period for me. And he gave me something from himself. So it was Mahaprasad. And as soon as I ate it, the love inside that I felt, it was so overwhelming. I just sat there and cried and cried and cried. It was so overwhelming. Like literally, I felt like my heart was about to explode of love. And this is prasad. Prasad is so important. Prasad is literally from the deity, from the Lord himself. It's the food that he has eaten. There's a very beautiful story of Narada. Before he became Narada and went all around the world going Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Before he became that, he tells a very beautiful story to, I think it's Sukadev, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, about how before he was Narada, before the Lord completely liberated him. And what was it that liberated him? Many births before, he was living with his mother, and his mother was a servant. She used to serve these rishis. And she used to clean after the rishis, and he was her child. And so just by him being in the contact of these rishis and these sadhus, he learned many things. So he used to listen to them, hear bhajans from them, really just be involved with them. And one day, one of these rishis ate food and left a tiny bit of prasad in the bowl. And he took this tiny bit of prasad, and as soon as he ate it, his mind was completely cleared from all sins. And he became liberated. Life became very beautiful, very easy for him. And the rishis then left. So obviously it was their job to give him full realization. And when he left, his mother died shortly afterwards, Narada. And when his mother died, he knew that it was God setting him completely free so that he could live a life only for him, without any other worries or attachments in the world. And then the Lord Srimad Narayana came to him and he said, now you just live your life for me and you just think about me. And only when you leave this body will you really be able to do your seva for me. And he came back as Narada. So the power of prasad is enormous. By sharing prasad, we share the blessing, wisdom, and light. Everything that is offered to the deity becomes prasad, like perfume, incense, flowers, everything. Take a reasonable amount so there is enough for everybody. Don't take a big plate. It's not good. Share. Take it with respect and humility. If it falls on the floor, please God, pick it up from the floor. Guruji has made people lick the floor, literally. Lick the floor for prasad. Eat it completely. Never throw away prasad. If Guruji sees you doing things like this, or Swami Parantapa, they will kill you. Only food offered directly to the deities is prasad. I think that's very clear. During main meals, that prasad is added to the rest of the food to make it prasad. So what happens is you offer a small amount to the deities, then you take the small amount, you add it to the big pots, and everybody shares together. Before eating, one should chant the food prayer. We went through the food prayer today. Don't eat the leftovers of others, as their personal energy is present here. Okay, this is always a big topic of discussion. Here in India, you guys share plates with each other. In Surat, Kapila, I saw all of you guys sharing plates together. It's different when you're a family unit. You are sharing karma. For sure, by eating off the same plate, you are sharing your karma. As wife and husband, if you pick from his plate, he picks from your plate, you are sharing and literally eating each other's karmas. So, up to you whether you want to stop that and you make your own plate and you eat from your own plate. But also as a family unit, you are sharing karma together. So that's there. As brahmacharis and as sannyasis and rishis and swamis, if Guruji sees you eating from somebody else's plate, he'll also be very upset. So try not to do that. There's unnecessary ways of giving yourself more karma. This is really one of them. Also, unnecessarily touching people. You also pick up a lot of stuff. All right, fasting on Ekadashi. This is not a mandatory rule of Bhakti Marga. This is up to you. What you choose to do, and especially here in Vrindavan, it's completely up to you. If this is something that you want to do it. If this is something that you don't want to do, don't do it. Performed for the purpose of focusing one's mind single-pointedly on the divine. That is why we fast, to focus our mind on God and not to please our senses. It benefits the natural recovery process of the body. In Ayurveda, if you are not eating, it means that you're giving your body time to heal because the energy has to go somewhere. So either the energy and the concentration is going to go to digestion, or if you're not eating, then it goes to healing problems in your body. That is why it's good to have breaks in between your food and not continuously snack. Ekadashi is on the 11th day of the rising and descending moon, usually twice a month. In the Vaishnava tradition, it is considered to be very auspicious to fast on those days. Guruji recommends fasting during Ekadashi if one chooses to fast at all. And what do we fast on? The same, we don't eat grains, we keep it a light diet. I know in SPN, some of the guys, they don't eat at all, which is very good. You know, it's a personal thing. Eating non-grains, but eating like a huge amount of tapioca and other things, like, honestly, doesn't make any sense. Or potato, eating fries all day. Seriously, I don't know how this makes sense. But it is up to you and what you choose to do as a person. But if you are going to do it, try do it. Silence. Similar to fasting, devotees choose to keep silence so as to focus on their spiritual practice and help to still the mind. Guruji speaks about one thing that I'll address here. Not so much chatting, chit-chat. When we chit-chat too much, it takes our focus away from God. And he doesn't like that. Never feel embarrassed to be in silence with Guruji. Don't feel embarrassed to be in silence in the ashram. We all understand these things. And to be in silence is a really beautiful thing, because only in the silence will you really be able to go inside. If you're so busy talking, it's very difficult. So as a devotee, if you want to go into silence, I would say that the best thing to do is to get hold of Swamini or Swami Rangaramanuja and check with them before you go into silence. Maybe they have to ask for permission, or it's better you be guided for these things. Guruji also does silent retreats that are so amazing. They are so amazing, really amazing. And he's done one of them in India too. One. I hope he does more. They're really amazing. To do a silent retreat with Guruji, it's amazing. An increased inner focus leads to a reduced desire to engage with mundane talk regarding the outside world. There's something about Guruji that is very interesting. When you look at him, he seems so easy and he seems so relaxed and non-strict. But when you get to know him a little bit more, you realize that he actually is very strict. He doesn't show it always, and not to everybody, but he himself is very strict, very disciplined. And I mean, it doesn't look like that way, no, on the outside, but he is. And what he wants from us, remember we spoke about it earlier, is he is the true friend of the soul. He doesn't need us to be cool on the outside and have lots of friends and to engage in many different things. He is concerned with us really going home, reaching his feet, being one with God. This is his true aim. And so when you focus on that and when he sees that your intention is there, then it's a really amazing thing. So when you want that, when you want the silence, when you want more of the discipline in order to go deeper, he really appreciates that. Observing a period of silence is completely voluntary, but recommended. If you go through a very hard part in your life, it's very good to go into silence. It helps sort out your mind. Okay, how many more slides do we have to go?
One more.
Okay. I think we're going to have to leave the rest for next time. I'll do a separate session. So I will add sadhana to, well, not sadhana, yoga and meditation to another day where all of us can get together. The Ishtadev, the personal deity to who one has vowed service to in a past life. And in turn, that deity has vowed to guide us to the final goal. Guruji knows who each of our Ishtadevs are. And as a devotee, an initiated devotee, you're allowed to ask him who your Ishtadev is. Have you guys all asked him in Darsha? Have you asked him who your Ishtadev is? No. Okay, coming. The Ishtadev is a deep and personal connection, and people worship their Ishtadev, but who is behind their Ishtadev is him. The only reason you have a connection to your Ishtadev is because he has set it up that way. And the only reason that your Ishtadev will come to you is because of his grace. So yes, your Ishtadev is important. Yes, your Ishtadev is there to worship and build your own personal connection to God. But who is higher than the Ishtadev? Your Guru. Focusing on your specific deity facilitates the process as we are resuming and establishing a relationship with God. For example, we all have so many different ideas of God. If I love Jesus and I see God as Jesus and I pray to Jesus all the time, God, Lord Jesus, come to me. I love you. Have mercy on me. And then Nishingadev rocks up in my room, I'll have a heart attack. No, like I'll actually have a heart attack. I'll be like, where's Jesus? What happened? So God comes in the form that you love. God comes in the form that you are closest to on the inside. And it's very surprising, the form actually that is closest to you. You don't always know it, only he knows it. So your Ishtadev is this form. It's the way that you relate to God, on your innermost being. To find out one's Ishtadev, one should ask Guruji. If that opportunity does not arise, it is best to worship Krishna, right? Because Krishna is very merciful. Guru mantra. Guruji used to give guru mantras. He doesn't give that anymore because none of us respected or knew what to do with this grace. So he said that he will only give guru mantras again once you practice Om Namo Narayanaya 16 rounds for 12 years. Yeah. Every day. Then you will benefit of the guru mantra. So the guru mantra is a personal mantra given by Guruji. It is a form of diksha and carries the full grace of the guru. The mantra should never be chanted out loud or revealed to anyone else, keeping it a treasured secret. Unfortunately, those of us who have been with Guruji for like 17, 20 years, well, at least I speak for myself, was really stupid. I really didn't understand what. I remember he told me the mantra in the middle of a game reserve, and I had no idea what he was saying to me. And then he screamed at me and like briefly wrote something down on a piece of paper, which I didn't understand what to do with for many years as well. So it's a grace that Guruji actually presents, I suppose, Bhakti Marga in this way. Because because of all the mistakes that we have made, it's made it more palatable and digestible for new people and new devotees that have come in. And that we have taken granted, for sure I have taken granted, many gifts that Guruji has given. So one is qualified to request a Guru mantra from Guruji after having chanted 16 malas of Om Namo Narayanaya daily for a minimum of 10 years. 10 years it says here, Rishi Jatilananda said 12 years. 12 years, it's 12 years. Although there is no prescribed use, one can chant one mala of the Guru mantra in the morning and Om Namo Narayanaya for the rest of the day. For all of us, we chant Om Namo Narayanaya. Guruji says that this mantra is so potent that even the entities that are around us that we don't see get liberated by us chanting these mantras. How amazing is that? That it literally is so powerful that it has the capacity to free entities around us just by us chanting it. Can you imagine what it does for ourselves? So Om Namo Narayanaya is very, very, very important. And now he says that we as devotees should chant for 1 hour a day. It used to be that you chant 16 malas a day. Don't worry about that. Just try chant for 1 hour a day. And more importantly, do it with love. And think about him. Whoever hasn't done Atma Kriya Yoga, who are the people who have not done Atma Kriya Yoga? I want to see them.
Not many left.
Shame. Fading like flowers. Fading like flowers.
Sandeep is fading.
Sandeep is fading. Okay. All right. Those of you who have not done Atma Kriya Yoga, it's very important. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done.
Last time.
Come on, come on. Clothing. The clothes have an energetic and psychological effect, favoring our spiritual growth. Saris and dhotis are simple pieces of unstitched cloth and symbolize simplicity. I think this is for the people that are not living in India, yeah? Brahmacharis and sannyasis should wear white.
No.
Now we're wearing yellow. Rishis red, as you can see, Rishi Jatilananda, and Swami's orange, which you can see in other places in our ashram. Oh, when you come for an event, Matajis, Please don't wear an orange sari. It's very disrespectful. If you are a devotee, don't come in an orange, what do you call it, Punjabi, or an orange sari, or an orange kurta, or an orange anything. 2 colors you cannot wear in Bhakti Marga. 1, don't wear orange. 2, don't wear red. Yellow?
No, yellow.
I think yellow you can wear, a Haribol.
For now, at least, it's not enough.
What
But-
is it with orange?
Huh?
Why is it?
Because it's strictly only for swamis. So it's fine if you have a nice orange sari or kurta or whatever. Don't wear it to any Bhakti Marga events. You will not be looked at with kind eyes. You will be like looked at with daggers, like go home and change. Yeah. Change. All right. White stands for purity. Well, now it is yellow, and I don't know what yellow stands for, but we're very bright.
Finish, no?
Mm.
I don't know what's that.
Okay. So, guys, this is the end of the devotee course as we know it today. We will get back to you about yoga and meditation. So you'll learn more about Project Mantra, Om chanting, Atma Kriya Yoga, and why it's so important, and what is sadhana, and how do we do sadhana in Bhakti Marga. We will also do the life of Paramahansa Vishwananda, which is very cool, learning about Guruji, what he was like as a baby, all the miracles that he used to perform, still performs, crazy stories of vibhuti falling from the walls, oil coming from the bed, amazing stories of Guruji. Huh? Narasimha from the chest, yeah. And you will also do simple puja course. So everybody will learn how to do puja according to Bhakti Marga, which is different. Now, I see just a few questions. Bandhanadas, because we don't eat animals which has feelings, who feels pain and fear, and eating meat affects our consciousness. True, it blocks some dimension of our consciousness and drags us to all physical desires. True. And also anger. Yeah. Should we chant Guru Mantra and do Atma Kriya and the day when somebody dies near? 4 days back, my grandfather died. Okay. Okay.
They can do that. They just can't do puja for 40 days.
Okay. So you can do Atma Kriya Yoga. You can do japa, but you cannot do puja for 40 days. But the rest you can do. Atma Kriya Yoga you must do. Japa you must do. And also you can give the punya of your japa. And even why not the Atma Kriya? Just say to God, Guruji, whatever benefits I get from this practice and from this japa, please give it to them, give it to the family, help them get stronger. It's a nice thing to do. That's a beautiful seva that we can do for people. Not just japa for ourselves, but japa for other people. Okay. Questions, anyone else? Are you okay? Are you all in overwhelm? Papu, you okay? You guys made it through. Rahul. Is it clear? Are you guys more clear about what it means to be a devotee of Bhakti Marga and what Guruji wants from all of us? Are you? I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So then, if there's nothing more, we will put in the devotee group when we're going to meet next for the 3 topics that we need to discuss. Thank you for applying. And then we will take it from there. Once you guys have the initiation from Guruji, the Swamis will be in touch with you about the process, about what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how you need to prepare. And for those of you that are already devotees, we will be in touch with you for in terms of everything in the ashram, seva, how to help, different programs that are going on, right? Okay. All righty, guys. It's my pleasure. I hope it was beneficial to you, and that with Guruji's grace, you understand a little bit more about what he wants from you and what it means to be a devotee.